Quick disclaimer, these are my personal opinions regarding the FFX of a Heavyweight Savage tier. I've been playing this game since the end of Stormblood, which means I have thousands of hours rating in this game at this point, so of course my opinions will be skewed. This isn't meant to be an attack, I'm simply going to look at the mechanics and compare them to previous floors. Specifically, I chose the Anabaseios tier because it was also the final tier of the Pandemonium raid series. I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, welcome back to the final comparison video. Endwalker 2 versus Pallas Athena, I suppose. Heavyweight Arcadion versus Pandemonium Anabaseios. So, here we are at the final boss of both of the raid series. Of course, if you're watching this, you can send to the spoilers. I mean, why would you watch this video if you weren't? Okay, so what do I think about this going into it? I think this fight is quite good from Heavyweight. It's pretty decent. The only problem is that I think memory mechanics are quite an artificial level difficulty of mechanic. Why do I think that? It's because you can just type in your chat or use a macro or whatever you want to remember what mechanic you are. So you have replication 1 here. This mechanic's fine. I mean, it's just I got spread here. I know the north guy is the pair guy, so I need to follow one of them, and I need to follow the one on the outside because that's our strategy. Again, this is not a mechanic explanation video. I'm just giving a brief overview. So he jumped north, so I'm going north with my healer. This is a good mechanic. I think it's a good mechanic. That's all I have to say. We have this buster here. This buster is quite unique. I like this. I do like this. It's a 3-part buster where they do the buster itself is a cleave, and then he spins, maybe. You have to go behind, and then he does another kick, and then the tanks get another buster. Nice buster. I agree. So here's the problem with this fight. Here's the only problem with this fight, actually, is that he does this thing where he shows you... He takes a long time to set up the mechanic, which is not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is. So basically, I have to do a mechanic based on where my player clone is. I'm east, or sorry, I'm west, so I'm taking a stack. Also, because I'm stacked, because the Defas cannot take this this Protean, I have to bait this Protean. So the resolution of this mechanic, I like. I think it's very good. It's very good. We do our stacks here, then the conals go off, and then the snaking kick, so we have to get behind him again. And then he has to do some setup here. He just has to do a reenactment, which is our player clones are going to repeat what we did, basically. Which is why we took the tethers we did. This mechanic is good. Like, I don't have too many qualms with this because it is an intro mechanic. Like, it's fine. Like, it's actually probably one of the best intro mechanics that exist. Because it's relatively complex. So now we've resolved the mechanic completely. And I'm going to pause here and then I'm going to go to Pallas Athena because I think that's a good comparison point. And the thing is, these fights are designed quite differently. Actually, you know what? I'm going to watch one more mechanic from this guy. So, this mechanic is quite weird, if I'm being honest. This is the last instance, I feel, of, like, an unfinished mechanic. Like, he kind of just randomly does this, and then never does this again. It just feels odd to me. It's not a bad mechanic by any means, but again, it felt like an intro mechanic and then they didn't do it again. I think they should have done something with this mechanic at the end of the fight. After the big mechanic that's left here in this fight. Because this guy really only does one big mechanic. He does his intro and then a big mechanic. So we have this Netherworld near, which means the betas need to take it because only betas can take damage in this mechanic. That's how it works. But again, this mechanic is kind of just nothing. Like, it's just so odd. It is the same thing as the shapes in Pallas. So now I'm going to pause because he really only has one large mechanic left, and Pallas Athena is designed quite differently. It's also quite slow in comparison. So she does her raid wide opener, and then she has the buster, which is just literally she cleaves half the arena, and then if you swap it, she cleaves the other half. You can just invuln it though. I only vaguely remember this fight, by the way. I have a basic idea of how it's formatted, but I know they are formatted quite differently. So yeah, she has this this sort of mini phase here, where this is like the dodge phase. The clones are showing which way we have to go. Those guys go off, so we're here. We also split into roles there because we were chained to the others. We had to break the chains. Then she does another thing here, which is like spread in some formation relative to what her tentacles are doing. So she's going to spin it so we're around the center, the donut safe spot. That's the end of this phase. It's going to be quite difficult to compare these mechanics, because she has that phase and then she also has classical concepts, which is sort of the same as the planets we just saw in Heavyweight. So we are dictating the mechanic we do based on the shape we get here. So I'm X, so I was in the third. I don't remember what the order was, but I also think like these alphas and betas don't really do anything besides show what shape you need to take. It's just a way for players to decide. They don't actually do anything. But then the shapes resolve. We have to make sure they didn't touch, and then they resolve, and then she sticks these in the ground. We have to do Proteans. That's I mean, I don't have problems with that mechanic. It's quite a nice mechanic, because she does do it later. Again, like it's an intro mechanic, and then she does it later, but a little different, which is generally what they do. Maybe that's not a good thing, actually, but I don't know. It just feels strange when the Lindworm spawned those planets and then only never did it again. It just felt strange to me. But again, let me know what you guys think about that. That's just my opinion. It just feels strange. It doesn't feel complete. So here's the big mechanic of Palace Athena, caloric theory. This mechanic is very complex, but it's not as complex as the Lindworm's most complex mechanic. So there are many ways to do caloric theory. You have to pair these fires. I'm not going to explain our strategy, but you have to pair these fires, and then basically some people have winds. We have to pair the fires again while being away from the winds. And you are limited on your movement. So if you move too much, we all die. And that is the thing. That is the big difference between this fight, is we all die. I repeat again. If someone messes this up, we all die. The only way you wipe completely in Lindworm is if someone kills you with a defamation, which is a lot harder to do. Yeah, and then she just does some exit flare dodges here with spreads. It's kind of whatever. If we're being honest, it's just kind of whatever. So she has a lot more mini dodge phases, I'm realizing. But then I actually forgot this mechanic existed until I started watching. It's this Pangenesis thing. I don't even remember remotely how this mechanic works because I haven't done it in such a long time. All I know is we have to take some towers depending on our debuffs. So I have light, so I have to take a dark tower. Then we also have to resolve it with someone else while doing this tether mechanic, removing our DNA. I got a random color, so I had to take a random tower there. Oof, this mechanic's quite good, isn't it? We also spawn these little things that the tanks need to take. Or, wait, how does it work? Oh, they have no debuffs, so they have to take these. No one with this debuff can take these tethers. I see. And then a buster, you can swap it, or we just invulned it. We always invulned it this way. And then she does classical elements again, or classical concepts, sorry. Alphas to red shapes, that's what it says in chat. Ox 30, or circle, triangle, X square. So this is the different variation that I mentioned before. Ah, and then she flips the arena. I remember this, yeah. So this is what I mean, is like she flips the arena. So it is quite different. And then this order of mechanics is also different. So this resolves, and then we do the proteans, and then the shapes resolve. So it is quite different. I mean, I say quite different, but it is different, which matters a lot when it comes to these things. Okay, I'm going to stop here because there's not much left here. We have Caloric Theory 2, and then the end, which is just a wrap-up phase. But this guy has the most complex mechanic of the expansion, for sure. But it's not that punishing, which was another reason why this died way faster than Athena. That's really like the difference, is like in this day and age of Final Fantasy, is things are not as punishing, which is, I'm not complaining, like it's just different. Idyllic Dream is the mechanic name. So he has to do a lot of setup here. And the basic idea of how this mechanic works is he spawned those in cardinals or intercardinals first, which resolves at the very end of the mechanic. And we're going to jump between dimensions here. So we're in the other dimension now. He's spawning boss clones, which are going to show us a safe spot. And then we go back to reality. We have to remember this safe spot for a second here. We go back to reality for our clones, and then he's going to spawn boss clones. We have to take boss clones, depending on where our clone is. And it's important for the end of the mechanic. So in this situation, I'm a stack. I believe I'm south 2 stack. Stacks are very easy to resolve. So then he's going to change it back, and we have to remember that safe spot. We go to that safe spot, and then we split into light parties. We show these towers. We split into light parties, show the initial towers, and then whoever does not get this holy cannot, like, if you get hit with this, you can't take these holy towers, basically. If Momo had gotten hit instead of me, I would have to swap with Momo and I would take this holy tower. Each tower does something different. It is quite complex, so I'm not going to explain it here, but this mechanic is quite good. We're jumping back to reality here to resolve our boss clone mechanics. It was stack first, so we're doing stacks, and then the deformations go out. Deformations resolve, and then the second set happens, so they're coming back, second stack resolve. Deformations are going out, the last deformations, and the reason this matters is you'll see at the end of the tower phase, we go back to our light parties, and we have to remember which tower we're taking. So if I had to swap with Momo here, I would have to remember that, and I would have to take that tower instead right now. So I have fire, which means I can cast, but I cannot move. The wind tower knocks you across, the earth tower does an aftershock. It's very complex, like I cannot explain it. And then you get these lightning debuffs based on which tower you got as well. So because I was fire, I do not have a lightning debuff. And in our strategy, I bait the far one from the other side, basically. Some towers have lightning, which gives you a far or close tether. It's similar to the guns mechanic from M4S, where you shoot someone far or away. That's about it. And then this guy, so remember before, when we came here, we had to remember what these guys did, so we had a safe spot immediately. They showed it, and then we went back to reality, and then we came back here and had to do that dodge immediately. You still have to remember what they did, because this guy is going to go into this portal to reality later in the mechanic. We also have to remember which one this is, because these guys are going to jump to a platform. This one's always a chariot, by the way. So wherever he goes is unsafe. I don't remember what the mechanic was. I believe we're going to 2 here. And then we just have to remember what this guy was. I believe we dodged south, so it means sides should be safe on B. So we go back to reality, and now our player clones resolve. The first set of our player clones resolve. It could have been cardinals or intercardinals first. In this situation, it was cardinals. So we take the stacks here. Our strat forces this formation. So we go to B. And I would have killed this because I thought sides were safe. It's difficult. Okay, then we go back and resolve the last set of player clones. And then this guy jumps out of the portal, comes to reality. And we have to dodge north-south. North-south, but you have to remember all of that while doing the other things, which is what makes this mechanic very complex. But again, it is the only really complex mechanic in this whole fight. He doesn't really do much else besides the initial dodges. And then we have this buster, and that's it. He does this buster again, and then he does some raid wides. That's the whole fight. Palace Athena has a lot left, so there's a lot more variation in Athena's mechanics. That is the only thing I really have to say here. Like, I don't know, actually. Like, this is close. That mechanic, Idyllic Dream, is quite good. So here's Caloric Theory 2, which is very different. Basically, that person in the middle just gets a fire stack they have to pass around. Or, sorry, they don't. Someone that's not them. Which is why we put them in the middle, so these guys can just pass around. This mechanic's really easy. You just spread based on the arena. That's how we know how far we need to be from each other. The last person goes to this guy. And that lines it up so we passed it to everyone. Then she does this again. So yeah, there's a lot more variation in Athena, but realistically, what do I prefer? It's a tough decision because I don't like Caloric Theory as a mechanic. It feels like they should have been opposite order. Like Caloric Theory 2 should have been first. I think most people that prog this fight feel the same. Pangenesis is kind of unique, but it's not like an excellent mechanic. It's just like fine. So, but yeah, I don't know. Idyllic Dream really carries the Lindworm, but it is a very good mechanic, realistically. But it's not that punishing. Like, if it was punishing, I'm a fan of the punishment, where, like, if we missed a tower, we should have died, but we didn't. Then this is the last sort of victory lap here. We get tethered to the rolls again. She showed where we have to be, and then she's also doing something which shows our safe spot with her tentacles. And then we do a spread. And that's it. Like, we just block tethers for each other at the end here. So yeah, there's a lot more variation in this fight. Like, we block for our roll partner. Do it again. I'm thinking about which fight is better. It's really close, because Idyllic Dream is such a great mechanic, actually. But it's kind of the only mechanic. But it does follow the philosophy of, like, he does the intro version and then he does the complicated version, which I do like. I think if they did something with the planets later, this fight would be better. It's very close. I don't have a problem with either of them. Like, I don't like caloric theory, but there's a lot more variation in Pallas Athena. Yeah, I mean, I don't have problems with either of them. Like, they have problems, but it's not terrible. I'm happy I did this. I'm happy I did this review because these fights are a lot closer than I realized. So, what's the conclusion here? Cocky-Toss is way better than Vamp Fatale. I'm just going to be honest. 10S, the Extreme Brothers are quite close to Pandemonium. Both of those fights are good. I don't have problems with either of those. They're both good. Themis is like a little bit better than Tyrant, but Tyrant follows a different philosophy. Majestic Meters is just such a terrible mechanic. It like ruins the fight. That's like my big problem with that. And then what? We have the door boss. The Linworm door boss is a complete joke. It's way too easy. It feels unfinished. I'm sorry, but Athena is miles above. The last fights are quite close. Idyllic Dream is the best mechanic out of any of them, and carries a Linworm, but that's okay. I think it's okay actually. But all in all, I think on average, Pandemonium is better. For sure, but Heavyweight did okay. Heavyweight did okay, but its lows are really low, and its peaks are pretty high. So that's the thing about this tier. I will conclude here by saying that the lows of Arcadion are very low, but the highs are pretty good. Like, they're pretty good. Idyllic Dream is pretty good. Now that I think about it, though, that's kind of the only thing that's really good. Oh well, I mean, it's okay. We'll see what they do in the future. I think, like, there is some hope for this game. It's not ever going to be as hard as it once was. We'll see how the Ultimate is. We'll see how Criterion is. Arcadion was alright. It did okay in the end. Idyllic Dream is quite good. That's all I gotta say. I've been repeating myself a lot here, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this comparison series. Look forward to the next video because it's going to be a tips video on progression rating and sort of mental things that you can do for yourself to help yourself with rating and things like that. I don't know what the format will be. I'm just sort of going to wing it and then see how it goes. But I think I can help out a lot of people because I have played this game a long time and I've put a lot of hours in. And I've been around for a long time. I know what works for me. It might not work for you. But yeah, check that video out for sure if you're looking to get better at rating and more consistent with whatever. Hope you enjoyed this video and the series. Look forward to the next one, and I hope you see you there. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.